I was just sitting here thinking about how much changing need to be done and done happen already. Sitting here just thinking about how tired I am. I'm tired. I'm spiritually tired. I ain't really tired, but I can't be tired. I went to bed at 6 and woke up at 9, so I can't be tired. Bored, probably. Oh, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about bad. What we think is bad. Bad and good is just one and the same, just two different extremes. I've been living amongst bad for so long. I realized, I realized it's like a filter. Then I realized when it get to the very end, that's when it get more comical. It get more fiction. It's like it get to the very end, like a bad situation or bad moments in time. Not like something that you get in a fight and have a bad day. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about a mission of bad stuff, like just bad in sequence and just back to back, like for a window of time, years maybe. And after you done went through it for so long and been in it for so long, you realize it's energy. I was just thinking about how Jesus knew legions. Like I know that now, like for me it's like acknowledging the demon inside of a person. And it's only certain entities that can control legions. And when you see an entity with legions, that's definitely a sign. But for me, they ain't always, I don't know how to say this, y'all. It's like everything is a gang and everything is a cult. So let's put two gangs in the front of us. Let's say we got polices and we got regular street gangs. To me, they're just one and the same, really. So it's like, let's say the captain is a certain entity. This entity can activate legions, or the spiritual realm can activate legions through this entity. But if that captain is elevated high, then them legions, something like that, so you take these legions, so you got these, like, let's say it's a whole bunch of cops, and they good cops. The captain good cop, they good cop. But they got involved in something dark and sinister. That activated something in the captain that activated the cops. Immediately, instantly, they transform all of them. I witnessed that with my eye. That's what I'm trying to say. That same thing can happen with gangsters. It's about where they vibrating at. I guess y'all like, what are you talking about? That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like that, like, I'm gonna put it somewhere where y'all can see it for yourselves. We all got people we visit. Well, I don't, but I typically would if I didn't do this, if I wasn't in this with God at the moment. But a normal life person do. You got all these people you can visit. And then you visit a family. It's typical good family. They always normally average. They the average family. But the family done hit a brick wall. The family done hit a situation where they gotta make decisions that's not normally what they would make. Focus on everybody's energy in that family. All y'all done went through this. So that's what I'm saying. Think about that situation in that moment if you can. Focus on everybody's energy in that window of time. They had a choice to make. In these choices to make is faith. God live in them. I done seen God many times where a family, no matter how good or bad they are, but I'm going with the good right now. Everything's going smooth, but God will put something like with Moses, story. God got them out of there, sent them on, and what they do to God. They kept complaining about food and water, food and water. And that disappointed God, because if God got you out of slavery, why would you not think God will feed you? So let's say this family is a wealthy or middle class family. And this decision they make is to, in their minds, to keep them wealthy or middle class. Okay? They typically supposed to go with faith and the right decision. They normally would. But this time, since money is on the line, their welfare is on the line, their security is on the line, their mind is fogged, it's clouded. They're not thinking logical. They're not using their head because they distorted right now. So instead of them falling back and making a decision then, they decide to go ahead and make a decision. And the decision is the bad decision. It's the bad decision to keep the wealth. It's going to guarantee they keep the wealth in their mind. So they do this. And you just on the outside looking. And you might be visiting your homie about, what's up, dog? He said, you see what's up, man. I'm going to do it. Well, what happened when you saw the family, you heard the family make the bad decision. And you yourself didn't think it was a bad decision probably. But you knew it was a good and bad decision that had to be made, and they chose the darker decision. Right then and there, you probably didn't notice it, but you'll notice it after I say this. Their energy shifted in the whole house. And that family. Everybody's energy shifted. Everything around them shifted. They friends with polices, higher ups or whatever. Law about it. The legal system. Everything shifted. Instantly. You just didn't notice it, but it did. Now, how would you notice this? Easy. Family first off start having issues they typically don't have. Then they start going to these people that typically will help them. And they probably still do, but something off about the energy. That's legions. Something activated them. What activated them? That bad decision they made. So it was a test from God. Now you can go back to Moses. The same thing. They kept complaining, knowing God would feed them and give them water. And there was one time in the Bible, I think it's chapter 17 on Exodus, or chapter 7, one of them. They thought God wouldn't give them water. They asked if the Lord was really with them. Knowing he was, Moses just got them free. Moses just freed them. from something that's way more harder and difficult than them getting water and food. So why would they have this doubt? They going to a promised land. God told them they're going to a promised land. So why did they have this doubt? Was it because they hungry? That window of time where they had to walk, just like what I got to go through at this moment. That window of time where they got to go without. And they ain't used to going without. They're not used to going without their cars, without their clothes, without their food and their water. But this is the moment in time. I feel like we are so greedy in those times. We are so unappreciative in those times. Because how often is God with us? Especially on earth. You know how valuable those moments supposed to be with us? I bet you when they got to the promised land, they didn't even tell this story, I'm sure with that though. I bet you when they got to the promised land, all of them regretted the time that they, every last one of them regretted how they treated God during that time. Because how often is God, the divine, is with us in the physical? You don't think when you go through these hard times, God made you without so he could spend a long time with you? What did you do during those times? Did you complain to God? Was you angry with God? How did you treat God? That's obvious. God created the world. Everything of the world is God. So if your father want to take you from your toys, wouldn't that make sense that he just wants you to spend time with him? Because you know God fixing the problem. You know God fixing the problem. I mean, look at Moses. He lifted the lake, he lifted the ocean up like this, like a light switch, on and off. Watch this, bud. Don't fly your soldiers and your horses in here. 'Cause I'm gonna do like this, and the water gonna come down. Look, watch this. Watch how I do the water. Man, you know that guy. Watch this, y'all. I'm glad I didn't have no power. I was like, oh man. I like, you see this homeless? I've been over there with the people. You see this? Watch this. Ooh, wait. Hey, Pharaoh. Pharaoh, watch this. Pharaoh, wake up, man. Look. I'm doing what? Pharaoh, when I raise the water up, the whales and the sharks stop looking at you. They can't go nowhere because there's no water. Look, Pharaoh. And you still didn't believe. It's like, what if somebody did that in front of us right now? Imagine the biggest ocean in the world, and we standing there, and we can lift this thing up, and immediately the water reside and come up. And the sharks in the whale just like, oh, I can't go. Put the nose out. I can't. Even the sharks and the whale is surprised. You know what I'm saying? Even the sharks and the whales are surprised. Why we treat God like we treat God, y'all? Even on my best moments in this situation, I feel like I don't treat God good enough. And then Satan sent me these distractions. So let's talk about the filter, the legions of people. This time not in the gang text, like I said, but in a group. The 90 legions are filtered out to the people who've been attacking you. That says Pharaoh group, Pharaoh people. And you done beat them, but they irritate. You done beat them, they irritate them. And me in my situation, when I go through something like that, where I feel like I fail God at, is how I'm thinking. Should I just go back and, bust them in the head? I go bust them in the head real good and stop playing with it. And right there today, I lost, you know, so I lose, you know. Just the thought of that. But I don't take it no farther than that, though. Immediately, once I think that, I pray, I meditate, but the sin has already been committed. You know what I'm saying? And then I feel like a disappointment to my father. Because I seen God bring me through battles only God could have brought me through. I know for a fact. And it's like, but that's just one moment in this segment. It's just one moment in this moment of time. Otherwise, I'm always talking to God, trying to spend time with God, trying to make God laugh, you know. As I told God when I knew I was going to go through something like Job now, that this is prophecy, obviously. I said, I don't want to focus on the people who are attacking me. I don't want to focus on my situation. I don't want to focus on what I don't have. I want to focus on the relationship that I got with my father. I want to appreciate the moment. I want to make them laugh, make them smile, make them cry. You know, God itself. I want to surprise them. How can you surprise God with nothing new under the sun in the sky? That's my goal. That's my purpose. Even though God got a purpose for me in this situation, deep down in my heart, that's my only purpose. I don't want to expect nothing. What's to expect when you're already in the energy and with the love of your life? The Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the ending. What is it to expect? So it's like in Moses, when that moment, when they went over there and they got their promised land, I bet they was just as sad as they was happy. But that's it. God gave you your gift, that's it. God is gone now though, the greatest gift left. And you know, we don't even realize when the greatest gift is gone until it's gone. That's what we gotta work on. That's one thing we gotta work on, period. Because they couldn't get that back. They can go back to where they walked, they can go back and talk to Moses, but they can't go back and talk to God. They could pray to God and stuff like that. But at that moment in time, they could talk to God. God was there. Right there. That's like my situation, okay? How can I reflect my situation to Moses' situation? Look at all the distraction that kept people away from me. This movie, this triangle. It kept them away. This is the moment of time where everybody want to meet me. Let's say everybody want to meet me, but yeah, meeting me, that's fine and all. But if you'd have met me when you're supposed to met me, you would have met God. See what I'm saying? When Moses went to talk to God, Moses had to go up to mountains. Moses had to walk away from the people. Even though when Moses came back to the people, that residue from God was on Moses, and the people talking to Moses was like talking to God. So it's like everybody in this situation was being blocked while I'm talking to God. And they were blocking themselves from meeting God. Not saying once they meet me, they won't meet God, but still, wouldn't it be even more suitable, even more uh, great to meet somebody while they interacting with God? If y'all can see what I'm telling y'all. So it's like, I want to spend every moment I can loving God and appreciating God and being God's child in the most honorable way I can, especially right here in this moment. I feel bad for y'all who had to wait on this movie, wait on whatever going on, wait on this case, wait on whatever, because they were all distractions to keep y'all from being able to embrace and feel the energy of God. Because obviously, even though this movie, this case, all this stuff is going on, obviously, when you look at it in the spiritual realm, they are just setups to keep me alone with God. When really all everybody would have had to do was do right. When all this was going on, make the right decision. And oh man, God, obviously somebody knew besides myself. We need to clean ourselves. Let's cleanse ourselves, get our oil ready like the women in the Bible. When they knew their Lord or something coming, they all went and got oil, not to sleep with nobody, but they cleaned the women. It was like 10 women or something like that. They cleaned themselves up. And when they got oil or something like that, probably more than that, I don't know, just to meet that Lord or a king or whatever that was. You know what I'm saying? They cleaned themselves. You see the respect in that? You know how hard it is for a woman? Go read that part in the Bible. I can't remember what part it is. I've been all over that Bible. I think it's in, if anything, it's probably in Job or Matthew or something. I don't know. But go read that part. These were like normal. I think they had to get ready for a wedding or something. But these were normal women. But they respected that moment in time so much so they cleansed themselves and got oil ready. It's that part in the Bible that I think it was one woman said, "Let me have your oil, have some of your oil," because what was she doing? You know what I'm saying? You gotta read between your lines. Like, what was she doing? Her oil, they said, you gotta get your own oil. You can't have my oil, you gotta get your own oil. So that is the respect to that, like, them women when they got their oil, they got ready for God, and they cleansed themselves, I meant for the king or whatever, and they cleansed themselves. So if, let's say they did it for a regular king, you know they would have did it for the Lord of God. So either way it go, it's the respect in it. They clean themselves up, cover themselves up and everything, just to meet this person. And what that means, clean themselves up, they wasn't having sex at all. In this situation, people was getting caught up in this triangle, saying you gonna meet a child of God and you was sleeping around. What? That shows how much respect you got for God. That's what I'm trying to tell the people out there. That should hurt all of us, including myself. That shows how much respect you got for God. And not only did you make sure you wasn't clean, but you started all this chaos to make sure lawsuits was in the way, which was going to come anyway because you contaminated yourself before you could even get the guy. You're going to meet God's child and you contaminated yourself. That's what created the problems. That's what created the case. That's what created the setbacks. That's what created the delays. Because God itself will probably like, man, do y'all know who I am? You know what I'm saying? He'd say, I'm God, you know. You coming to meet God. You come to meet God's child. You coming to meet God. Why would you contaminate yourself? Even your best man beside you ain't worth it when it comes down to God. And I shouldn't even have to say it like this. Y'all went wild enough there now. Even your dream man beside you. I just feel like, not just women though, men too, but I talk for the women. I love women. And I gotta just keep it on this page. No offense to you women out there. I'm always just say women. And I ain't gonna keep saying men and women. Because somehow, some way, when I mix it up and try to put it in there like Tarot put it in there, Kings and Queens, they gonna say, and yeah, he go both. I had a dream about, you ain't had no dream about me at all. Not at all. Y'all can't even find nobody that you heard me go the wrong way with. You ain't gonna find them. You ain't had no dreams about me. I ain't saying you have. I'm just saying I be getting my emotions about that stuff. Like if they was talking, I know like y'all better move out of the way. I'm born in this. Like I'm born with all this stuff, all this records, all this distortion came from. So don't you think they gonna try it on their own before they try it on the world? I fought then, I fight now. When it comes to that kind of stuff, better go on. You better go on. Cause that's little stuff to me. I growed up in that kind of chaos. If you can't beat that and say no to stuff like that, and you gonna let it contaminate you, then how are you gonna make sure you are well preserved? If God, think about it, you went your whole life doing whatever you want to do, and then all of a sudden the trumpet blow, and they say, "God's child, God is coming." Wouldn't you want? You should want to prepare. You should want to tell your man, "Oh, this is it. I'm finna go see. I'm going to see God, God's child. This is it. I don't want to hear what you got to say. I don't want to hear what you got to say. You know, the man, he gonna so anyway. He gonna probably go somewhere else anyway. But I'm saying, I don't want to hear what you got to say. I don't want to hear what you got to say. I'm cleaning myself for God. And if you did do that, then obviously, once you did that and you meet God, and you cleanse once you met God, when you go back to your family life, it's gonna be 10 times better than it was because you took the time out to filter yourself, to cleanse yourself, to detox yourself, just to meet God. You put down, you fasted everything just to meet God. You showed God you appreciated God. We gotta all remember that. Remember these times right here.